understanding that. So, all right. Then we're going to go to the second tab. The second tab, I'm going to zoom out even more because, again, legit, I am a freak in the sheets and I have designed an entire dashboard for you all to really have a breakdown of where you're at. This is just an example one. So this second tab where it says the NWDW, the net worth, dot worth calculator sample, this is that sample. So once you have your own copy, again, feel free to do what you want as far as changing this out or just working off of this one. What's going to happen in the way how I've programmed these formulas and charts for you all is you literally just have to input your numbers. So part of the reason I think that I find myself that I was resistant to this practice as well as others that I encounter is because it does take some work. You're going to have to look at your documents. You want to be specific. How much exactly do I owe on this car note? How much exactly do I owe on this student loan right now? And you need to be completely honest and put the totals. Don't round down. Don't say, oh, well, I'm going to make a payment next month, a big one. Put exactly where you're at so you can accept where you are and then start building a plan to move forward that's honest. Don't inflate how much are in your savings or how little. Just put the numbers down and try not to attach any judgment to yourself or to those numbers. Okay. So all that's to say, in this sample scenario, you can see that I have left space for additional items, but in general, these are kind of going to be the biggies. As far as your overall look at what your worth is, as far as your cash and investments, as well as your debts and liabilities, this will give you a pretty good snapshot. This particular sample that I drafted up, this sample person has multiple different stocks going on. They actually have 45,000 in their 401k, 20,000 in annuities, 12,000 in a couple IRAs, as well as a little bit in their savings accounts, and then some cash sitting in their checking accounts. They also have a life insurance plan that has a cash value of 18,000 that they could pull out equity against for, say, a down payment on a home, right? So it's important to also start to know there are so many ways that you can have cash without specific cash flow into a bank account or having that readily available. A lot of times in a self-directed IRA or a life insurance plan, for example, it's pretty easy to actually pull out that cash value and use it as equity for such as a down payment with a house example. Okay. So then we come over here, this person, and unfortunately, this is pretty accurate, especially in American households. I think the average is American households on average have about 3 credit cards and often are sitting with anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 in debt. There's also a lot of data out there that talks about how many Americans in general, I think it's upwards of 80% of Americans do not have enough like assets, so investments or cash in the bank, to actually pay or cover their living costs even for 2 months. So that's another thing to consider and why this is important to get on the balcony and kind of look at this whole picture just so you can prepare accordingly and kind of know, well, what are my options if something happened, if I lost my job, if I needed to resign from my job, etc. So over here, this person has 9,000 on one credit card, 4,000 on another, a student loan of 41,000. And if you're a millennial like me, unfortunately, this is pretty common as well. Tens of thousands of dollars in student loans. I think when I resigned from my role, and I shared earlier, I had about $2,000 in the bank. I think I also had about $45,000 worth of debt in student loans as well as credit cards. So this is pretty common. And then also there's a car loan that they still owe 18,000 on, as well as a mortgage on a home that they owe 78,000 on. So even being a little modest with that, depending on what path you've chosen as far as your living situation and the boom of, I think with our generation in particular, wanting to, oh, well, we graduate college and then we try to buy a home. And just looking at some of those patterns over time, this is also something that could be a common expense, just depends. Also, sometimes depends on if you live in more of an urban or rural setting. Much more common. I live in the Chicago area, and it's very common, regardless of your age, that you're renting. Just different lifestyles. So any what's its, we have programmed for you down here very simple formulas. So no matter what I enter in here, if I enter an additional item, let's say worth 20,000, you're going to see that this number down here updated, as well as the graphs over here. So I say all that to say, this is automatically then calculated down here. So this will tell you your entire net worth. Unfortunately for this person, even though their total assets, their cash and investments are at 112,500, their debt actually is equivalent to more than that, putting them at a negative net worth of 59,500. So even with all of these things happening, or these totals, this is the reason that I'm encouraging you all to get on the balcony and start to get really honest with yourself about what is really available to you. That can all change very quickly, obviously, especially with some strategic planning like this. All right, so these columns in this chart are actually connected to these charts. So then you just have a visual of your cash and investments, which is this step one total down here, and it shows you how it's dispersed. Clearly, we can see this person has put the majority of their investment into a 401k. Just gives you a different visual. And then same thing with your debts and liabilities attached to this 172,000. We can see the majority of this comes from their home mortgage. All right, then the same thing is displayed over here, just in a different visual way, if you prefer to see that specific breakdown through a pie chart instead. Just another way to look at it and have your own mini dashboard. Okay, finally, we are going to come to the right of this, if I can click on it. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have one final tab, and this one is empty. Let me move my little face down here. If I am filling this out, this sample person, I literally just put in some placeholders here. I'm going to do the same over here with debts and liabilities. Just the 100, 200. You can see as I do this, because it's already been programmed for you, very simple. You just input the numbers. And with this person, sample, again, just input these numbers as examples for you all to see how it calculates automatically. This person's net worth would be $600. And then you would also see the same displays on your own dashboard. And you can start to see, you can make copies of this tab. You simply right click and hit a duplicate, and you will have a copy. And then you can title them quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, right? You can track your progress. You could do it once a year. Whatever the case is, we just wanted to give you a really tangible tool, especially as we head into a new year. And whenever you're viewing this workshop, maybe you're not viewing it with the new year happening. Maybe you're midway through the year, or maybe you're in quarter two or quarter three. Who knows? But either way, we hope that this tool really helps. And yeah, thanks for tuning into this free workshop. We also really want to be honoring people's time and talent, and the fact that you submitted your personal information to have access to this tool. One of my frustrations with coming out of the workforce, the more traditional workforce, and then starting my own companies has been just seeing how like there's a monopoly for sure. Like I see a lot of freebies out there, and one thing that our companies aim to do is make sure that you have really high quality free resources that you have access to. So be sure to leave us a comment or share out about this resource with others. You can tag myself at Spiritually Strategic is my handle on Instagram. Tag me in your stories. But if you find this helpful, just share about your journey with it. Send me a DM. Would love to hear your testimonial about how this is helping you. So thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out any of our other goodies. I know that we have some specials going on with other workshops from our Edupreneur Vision Accelerator program. And this is just a free tool we really wanted to put together and give you a high level dashboard type experience to really look at your net worth and debt worth. Take care.